A zoo in the southern Guangdong province of China recently sparked outrage from visitors after coming clean about what many had already guessed. Their pandas were actually two chow chow dogs with their fur painted to look like pandas. Once caught, the zoo didn't apologize for deceiving visitors, but instead put up a new sign calling the animals Panda Dogs. In the world of business consultants, advisors, and even IT services, there are a lot of dogs who paint themselves as pandas and attempt to sell you their services. People who are grossly incompetent fakes who can hang out a shingle and call themselves a pro. You might think that in this information age, where folks have access to Al Gore's invention 24/7, 365, nobody would fall for such con artists. But the reality is that the world is still full of gullible fools who willingly buy into fake experts for all sorts of reasons that have nothing to do with that consultant's ability to produce a result, but based on other far lesser important criteria, such as cheapest price, easier terms, no contract, for example, and the limited service delivered, break fix versus managed, cheaper backup, no real cyber protections, etc. They don't look for the best or the most competent. They look for the least viable option to check a box. In my work with thousands of MSPs, I've discovered that a scary percentage of them are shockingly incompetent at delivering even the most basic IT services. One previous member canceled his membership because he thought the MFA we had on the dashboard and in Keep was irritating, stating, "I don't even know what this is anyway or why you need it." Another was actively advising his clients to turn their computers off at night to reduce their risk of a cyber attack by half. That's just one of dozens of examples I could give you. Point is, if you're one of the competent MSPs out there charging appropriately for a comprehensive approach to IT support, security, and responsive services, you will have fight the uphill battle of prospects wanting to hire a lesser competent IT guy just because he's cheap, or just because he doesn't require any type of contract or commitment, or because he's willing to allow clients to choose their own treatment plan, carving out critical management, monitoring, and cyber protections because they, the client, don't feel they need all of that. A few points on this. First, you have to be very careful to not bend to the demands of clients and prospects who want you to alter your services and advice because they feel it's too much or too expensive. Stand firm on never selling a client less than they need. At the price point, you need to run a good business. This is difficult given the vast majority of amateurs you're surrounded by willing to sell anything for a buck. Second, do your best to educate clients and prospects on why your recommendations are exactly what they need and why your way or your approach is superior to finding someone cheap or easier to engage because they don't offer a contract. Most people are not experts on IT, security, and selecting a great MSP. That's not necessarily their fault since none of us can be experts on everything. You must bake this into your marketing and sales process or you'll end up losing a lot of deals you should have closed simply because you failed to appropriately and convincingly deliver your case for your company and your recommendations. Third, if you have made a compelling case and the prospect is still stubbornly clinging to wanting cheap or a lesser solution, let them go to your competition. You should not take just anyone as a client. If they're difficult now, unwilling to take your advice, fighting you over your fees, demanding better terms, a guarantee, or other unreasonable demands that leave them with zero risk and put it all on you, walk away. Ramp up your marketing efforts so you have enough deal flow to not be needy of any one sale. And finally, make sure you aren't gullible to fast-talking fake panda dogs and their pitches. You must discern between fact and fiction, the full and true story, and a carefully edited opinion, reality, and charlatanism. Trusting anonymous posts on Reddit is not smart. You need to be very selective about who you take advice from. The guy who's never grown a business beyond $1 million in 20 years has very strong opinions about marketing, sales, and overall business strategy. You must be careful to not let his advice sway you. Many scams or cons are harmless. The Panda Dogs, for example, lip-syncing artists, professional wrestling, but there are plenty of fakes that are far from benign that you do need to be careful of. You also need to be careful to not let your desire for cheap, easy, free, etc. sway you into following someone delivering a book report of what they've seen others do versus a field report of what they have actually done themselves and know.